Well, here we are. Good evening, my fellow Squiddos. Now, you are all probably wondering, a State of the Squid address? Now? Well, roughly on this date last year is when this microchannel was rebranded to Inkling_XA from the default Gmail username. It marks the first anniversary of my attempt at somewhat regular posting. The abandoned school video was only there for a college course project. That one doesn't count. What video is it? Well, it's the flooding video. Now, I'm not naive. I've noticed YouTube has been pushing some videos and channels with less than 50 views and subscribers quite regularly for the past few years into most YouTube users' main feed. I think I have been a partial benefactor of this effect. This flooding video must have gotten a foothold on some hierarchy list of YouTube's minnows channel order of merit. A channel with 4 subscribers at the time would have definitely fit that bill for sure. As long as YouTube isn't placing any ads on these minnow channels and taking some extra gravy for themselves, I'm not totally against that. Now, 1 year down the road, Inkling_XA sits at a modest 86 subscribers. Now, I'm perfectly fine with that. To quote my college campus minister from my small group leading days, it's big enough to dare, but small enough to care. In this case, small enough to make whatever the heck I want, and to say my inside jokes that only some of my buddies would get, and not get completely roasted in the comments for it. I get to try and fly my true colors like I was hanging out with some of my friends. Sounds like a bit of permissive culture thing there. Now, to knock myself back into line, I am nothing special in the grand scheme of things. Heck, my channel description says it all. In my opening line, I'm just some ordinary dude with a 10-year-old camcorder sharing my journeys. I have no thoughts or plans of making money off this thing. And even if I did, YouTube and the old government will take nearly every penny of it. Not to mention that Inkling_XA is less than 10% of that magical number, and that magical number might be increasing in the future for all we know. Plus, I know I would have had to learn some major patience from reading the laundry list of potential held for review comments, aka corporate complaints, I'd get along the way. Let alone, copyright strikes can sink your ship in a heartbeat if you're not careful. YouTube seems to be more lenient with copyrighted music with non-monetized channels. Worst case scenario, you just get ads on your video so the owner can get a couple bucks here and there. Now, it is no secret to me why this channel has such a modest view count. It's the Komet Hockey stuff. With the minor exception of a few Splatoon fans clinging on to hope to see a Splatoon video from Inkling_XA, trust me, if I knew how to get and work a capture card, I would do it. But alas, trust me, I've seen the comments and the numbers. Now, as much as I want to consider myself as a Fort Wayne Komets version of Steve Dangle, I don't have the rage energy to fit that bill, nor do I want to pretend to be just for the sake of views. The ex-core group leader in me doesn't want me to imitate someone who I am not, and not to be quick to anger. Trust me, that was tested this year. The end result of my quote-unquote anger was my urinating tree style video in April. And I'm fine with that. I do enjoy making Komet Hockey, even if it was the mediocre rebuild of last season. The fact that I outperformed the Komet's official YouTube channel in parts this season is quite a testament. But maybe that has to do more with the Komet's official YouTube channel more than anything else. No, seriously, please extend your highlight packages a little bit more, and more RefCan videos, please, Fort Wayne Komets. I still intend on using this channel to post my archives because why pay for hard-earned money for hard drive space when you could just make videos private and upload them to YouTube as your cloud? As well as my passion project videos, like the March 7th video and the hotel reviews. Now, I do have a couple of goals in mind. Maintain a 80% approval rating, which is pretty easy to do so with the abolishment of the public dislike count, and to not overthink the abusive comments. Turns out the approval rating sits at a 92%. That sums up my college career right there. Well, despite a couple of abusive comments that might have come down more to the video content rather than the video creator, I think I've avoided losing my head for the most part. So, with both goals accomplished, I'll give myself the green light to do this another year. Thus, we truck on for another year here at Inkling_XA. A big shout out and thank you to the 86 of you who have put up with me for parts of the year, and for the encouragement along the way. Whether we get no views or we get tens of thousands of views next year, I'll still be making these road trip travel vlog videos, weather stuff, Komet Hockey stuff, and whatever the heck I decide to make that's worried enough along the way. March 7th, just because it didn't mention you, doesn't mean you're safe either. So, well, without further ado, let's reminisce over Inkling_XA's top hits, my personal favorites, and let's throw my personal least favorite or regrettable postings over the past year just for self-critiquing purposes. It would be a Komets versus insert your favorite era of Toledo hockey here, without some sort of fan interest on both sides. Granted, this was hot off the heels of my best day one performing video at this point, the Komet opening night video. I bet this video was planted in a lot of people's YouTube algorithms, especially considering Inkling_XA had roughly 10-ish subscribers at this point. Leave it to me to see one of the most mid-Komet walleye games all season. A low-scoring, low-fighting affair led to, hey, witnessing my first ever shootout, and another straight video with a ref you suck chance. We all know how this game ended, with 1080p and a 10-year-old camcorder video stabilization aside. I think this video was well done as it continued to hit my strides as a editor in my second proper hockey video. This video was well received by the public, backed by a surprisingly low dislike count on this video. Given the subject matter, a dislike was expected, but that's no skin off my nose. This is America after all, and votes should matter. I was surprised and thankful to see so few held for review comments. The worst it got was a comment that contained an F-bomb that, of course, wasn't going to fly on my Christian YouTube channel. A minor internet fight involving some kids that got shut down, and a troll catching on making fun of the video. Once they stay where their allegiance lies, as a fan not of a team featured in this video, and helped me break up the kids going back and forth in the comments, I'd let them slide and not throw them or the comments in the penalty box. Once again, this is America after all. The walleye fans I had the slight interaction with were better than I expected. I wouldn't have figured out how cheap walleye tickets can be, and single-handedly sparked my interest in going to Toledo in April, so I have to give them credit for that, at least. A couple of them even subscribed. Even if you're maybe just to see the Komets lose, that's fine. Or this could be due to the lack of ECHL hockey videos might be driving the cause as well. It feels like a dream when you stumble upon your specific niche in your YouTube feed. If there was ever a video where I made a halfway attempt at chasing the algorithm, Diamond Hands on Ice was it. Once I got back to Inkling_XA HQ to begin the editing process, I had a feeling that this video was going to do some damage. And indeed it did. It smashed the #1 video at this point in terms of day one views. In fact, it cracked the 1000K barrier in its first 24 hours of uploading. I could tell from the high numbers of YouTube notifications I was getting for comments and new subscribers during work that it was going to do some damage. It now sits at a hair under 6,000 views and solidified my channel as that one dude who makes Komet Hockey videos. This video by far had the most neutral viewers out of all the videos. The Komets up to this point have been rubbish and was in significant danger in my eyes to miss the playoffs. So signing the popular and polarizing figure in the Federal Prospects Hockey League, Daniel Amesbury, was an attempt from the Komets front office to put some butts in the seats for some good old school hockey. Diamond Hands managed to do so for all about 5 minutes. Now, I gave them the benefit of the doubt at first at time of signing, but I hated the move at first. After the result of this game, I was even more against it. Some people in the comments section called it a publicity stunt. While I wouldn't go that far, it was sure a desperate move for a so-called playoff hopeful team. Of course, the fight was a good part of the video, but my second favorite part / Easter egg portion of the video was the Pizza Gene meme of the video, which got a shout out in the comments. Yes, if Pizza Gene ever did exist, Diamond Hands would most certainly eat there. Gotta throw my personal Genshin Impact teamer to make this video my true flavor. Honorable mentions go out to the fellow hockey and Splatoon fan out there. He's now officially a legend in my book now. As well as to some of the K-Wing fans for filling me in on some information. And yes, I do plan on going to Kalamazoo for a game in the 24-25 season. Just waiting for work to tell me if I'm working second or third shift for the fall and winter months. Somehow, someway, or by some act of God, this video has the most views on my channel. In which, to echo this commenter, it is very ironic that this is the video that is my greatest hit according to YouTube. This video is quite unremarkable, rushed, but all around worked out in the hindsight. While it was below severe limits hailstorm, something about hearing the hail hit my gutters and seeing the white specks bouncing around. I could see that being a nice ambiance. Oh yeah, by how rushed was this video? Well, I was watching an IndyCar race on TV when I decided, here, let me prop up my crap phone on the window and see what I can get. Well, we got something at least, more than what I usually see. I swear I never get good hail videos, even when I'm properly storm chasing it. For the figures, this video didn't take off until much, much later. I believe this video only had 100-some views after week 1. It wasn't until the Miracle Muncie video was released 2 months down the road that this video cracked 1,000 views. And then in effect, a slow burn fashion, it got over to 7,000 view count, consistently over time, grabbing a few hundred views on a month-by-month basis until recently. It holds the crown as leader in the clubhouse for view counts, and quite possibly to never be dethroned ever again. It only took me 5 seconds watching this video to start cracking up laughing. Yes, the opening bit of letting March out of her cage bit was supposed to be right side up, but somehow ended up upside down. You know what? It's better that way. This video had the perfect mix of personal flavor, giving the viewers what they want, and quote-unquote professionalism. This is the first and only video to be in 60 frames per second, but still in 1080p. You can thank West Banco Arena for having a no personal video camera policy for forcing my hand and testing out the slightly less crap phone. This video is a doozy, coming in at 114 minutes long, and the timestamps definitely helped out in terms of user friendliness. This video was inspired by a Nailers fan commenting on the Komet's opening night video, wanting to give me a Nailer game a shot. Granted, I'll take any excuse to take a road trip outside of Indiana. The hockey was, well, pretty garbage in my mind, at least from the Komet's end. The Nailers, they played quite a good game. The whole trip was a relative success, playing golf in 2 different states in 30-degree weather, trying some local barbecue joint, and not getting scammed for my hotel. We'll get to that later in the video. The finger and lens counter and Drew counter was an experiment that I tried, one that I may not do again, but at least it kept the viewers occupied. This video now sits at 250 plus views, which is right in the middle of the pack in terms of view count on this channel. It probably would have been more if the video was just the hockey content and not a 2-hour video, because, you know, long-form content is apparently dying. But I couldn't care less about the view count, so onward for 2+ hour long travel vlogs in the future. If there was ever a video which you want to see me in my most relaxed form, this video was it. Something about Drew acting as my witty color commentator for my play-by-play helped my speaking out big time. and his endless taking my camcorder and taking random videos of whatever for comedic relief, it gave me something to go off of for commentary, rather than the usual 5 seconds of silence trying to complete my own thoughts when I'm by myself. Nothing says more about guys being dudes going to a hockey weekend getaway rooting for two random teams as former pandemic passion projects than this video. Drew at least has some sort of reason for being a Blue Jackets fan. Myself being an Islanders fan is a whole different story. It's been a ride being a ride-or-die Islanders fan. Gosh, we're so mid. Anyway, the hockey was what you expect from the Islanders. Low event, fast, not much happening. If I were to compare all the hockey games I've been to in the past, this was the most boring hockey game I've watched, period. But being an Islander fan made this game intense and more interesting. Seeing my first in-person Islanders win helped out big time for the memory bank. Drew had the asset of trying to roast me or anything he could possibly make a witty comment out of. A cheesy Halloween night and a night stay in Dublin, Ohio, not Ireland, was the perfect night for it. Not to be overshadowed, this video featured a rare Semyon Varlamov shutout and quite possibly the last goal for Matt Martin in an Islanders sweater. Such perfect merit for an oddity of a hockey game. The only remorse I have is overdoing it on the Grippos/Grippers/Nahida inside joke. Not sure if anyone got the joke. I don't even think Drew got it for what it was worth. But hey, maybe there's a Genshin Impact/hockey fan out there in the wild. Lastly, it's a dang shame that we won't be going or doing any Islanders Jackets Revenge of the Jackets this year. Work schedule won't allow it, so here's to seeing the Stadium Series game, maybe? If civil defense had 50 years to prepare for the Cold War and had to go nuclear, then it must have been what I was feeling, trying to prepare and send this video for the Komets when they missed the playoffs. Hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. There's so many hidden jokes and references in this video, it would take a director's commentary cut video to explain it, in which I will probably do someday. This video took 2 months of planning, scripting, editing, and making video and audio references. I originally had it as a funeral-style video, but that would have been too depressing for me, so I ended up with a urinating tree-style congrats video with the center point of the running gag of the infamous 1971 Fort Wayne Whoa Whoa, which ironically happens to broadcast Komet games to this day, ironically, nuclear attack emergency broadcast-style false alarm. Except in this parody, it was far too real. Boy, was this my beast in my editing file. I believe it took up almost 50 gigabytes at one time trying to get bits and pieces of my Komet footage from the archives. But the payoff was that it was well received. Some liked the urinating tree spin on the video, which was kind of the reason why I did the video in the first place, and I made it an all-out venting session in the comment sections below. But surprisingly, it was quite civil. Some wanted to hear if the video resembled my true thoughts on the Komet season and my reaction, in which it totally isn't. But, note to self, no more disclaimers in the beginning of videos next time. Let your confidence fly, Benny boy. Well, despite it being not my best work, it would be criminal not to mention my first all-out edited with graphics video. Despite it being rough, with some wrinkles that missed out the final cut, it was quite a good for a rookie in terms of only learning professional video software 1 week ago. Thanks Windows for ruining Windows Movie Maker and introducing a new watermark or have to pay to play version. This game was interesting. You got to see the fans' perspective compared to the ref cam video that the Komets posted on their YouTube channel. In fact, most of the 1,700 plus views came from the recommended feeds of that video. I think it is the most justified ranking in terms of ranking my favorites. Good enough for 6th on the board of YouTube's best hits. Featured is the pre-game opener rituals that the Komets usually do every year, a singing of O Canada, a first for me, and ironically I savor that moment, Some egg-laying by the Komets, making my presence known. I despise Chase Lang, and the coup de grace, a loud and proud "Ref, you suck" chant was also featured. After I uploaded this video, I was hungry for more Komet Hockey, probably more than ever before. If you want to know my favorite video that I've ever made thus far, hands down, it is the March 7th tribute video. The video's only downside I can think of is the weird finger tracker on the slightly less crap phone and the audio clipping at times. I thought the crap phone, now relegated to audio recorder, was picking up a brand new Rode microphone. But after reviewing the live audio recording, nope, it somehow defaulted to the crappy crap phone audio recorder. Which, don't get me wrong, the audio wasn't terrible considering it's a 6-year-old Motorola phone, but I digress. Yes, this is in fact my true reaction to playing any video game. Loud, obnoxious, roasting certain characters for my amusement. And yes, March 7th definitely fits the bill for characters I would roast. Honkai Star Rail at the time was a relatively new game to me, and noticing that the slightly less crap phone had video capture feature, this was a test run that turned out into a full-blown video, which turned into a bunch of personal memes in my inner circles, which, personally, this video was criminally underrated in the view count. It would rank inside row 8 if it were in the Indy 500 out of 36 videos. But hey, at least it would qualify. Maybe it's for the best, as it didn't have to face or run up into any Hoyoverse gatekeepers. The Komets mostly second that they were only here for the hockey, apart from one outlier comment. But oh well, can't dictate the internet. By the way, we're not done with this game in terms of videos. This will certainly be back in a not too distant future, because oh, are we gonna have fun with this? So this vlog wasn't even supposed to happen in the first place. A Sunday afternoon race with a 6-hour drive back home, in which I had to be at work at 11 a.m. the next morning, in which I wouldn't get home until midnight if traffic cooperated, and because it's Indiana, it most certainly didn't. But when the ticket resale market popped up with a legit $15 ticket for a $100 seat about a month and a half in advance, I jumped at the opportunity to march to my death wish. Oh yeah, with golf in the state of Illinois on the docket, it was going to be an awesome trip. Well, not if Mother Nature had to say something about it. That 10% chance of rain washed out a 5-mile radius, including the golf course and surrounding areas, and with my tee time being a rain check only, no refunds, I'm not willing to drive 5 hours just to play a slightly above average golf course. So there's $60 down the drain right there. Oh well, at least I can unwind in the hotel hot springs and listen to practice on IndyCar radio network. Well, not if the front desk staff had to say anything about it. Apparently my Indiana Farm Bureau rate of $78 showed up as SSO in the hotel database, in which the dude working the desk interpreted as senior citizens discount rate and said, "This isn't you, you're not on the list, you're not over the age of 55, in which I had to last minute book a room at the same hotel for the same night at the procrastination rate of $108 a night, so only a $38 loss. Not too bad. Wrong. It was past the 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time deadline to cancel the original hotel, so make that original booking wasted with nobody in it. So make that $168 wasted thus far. So now, with my mood spiraling out of control, I became apathetic at best to the vlog, knowing I was out a whole lot of money. I started shoehorning FP1 Will references right and left for some whatever reason, because that's what I was binging at the time. It added nothing of value to the video. Not even my Genshin Impact references were funny looking back at it. It was true coping at this point. The only saving grace for this video for me was the USAC Silver Crown car race, race actually being good, and the Starbucks pumpkin spice white girl bit at the end of the hotel review. The IndyCar race stunk. Scott Dixon won on the field mileage, no passing race, and Takuma Sato, my favorite driver, wrecked in his final non-Indy start while running the top 10, so that made me sad. And to add on to it, work called me wanting to know if I was able to come into work ASAP, 6 hours away from work. So add that onto the crap pile of things. Lastly, Indiana decided to shut down the interstate at 2 different places for quote-unquote road construction, which delayed me 2 hours plus, which means I didn't get home until roughly 2:30 a.m. Monday morning. Trauma ran aside, this video broke some records. It's the second longest video on the channel. It also is the only video to have a 0% approval rating, with no likes and 2 dislikes out of 60 views. It is the only video to go winless on my channel. I guess that solidifies my saying that I say. If you give a crappy attitude, you get crappy work, and you get crappy results. This video much so deserved it. To break the particular order rule, this is easily my worst upload video ever. If there was ever a why'd I even upload this remorse video, this is it. The only redeeming quality that this video might have is for some white noise if you're struggling to sleep, and if you're looking for a video to potentially buy a house and take a good sneak peek around Muncie neighborhoods. This video was specifically for views and views only, and it failed to do even that. It got beat by the March 7th video, which actually good for my favorite video, can't possibly be beat by my least remarkable video ever. My mind thought the flooding and the first snow video did well, so let's do it again. While the first snow video actually had snow-covered roads, the second snow video had mostly wet, slushy roads at its worst and dry roads at times. It got so bad that I forced some off-roading on an unplowed road for some climax. You get a view that is half my defrost vents and half actual road as a POV, so that doesn't help. This video isn't terrible on paper, don't get me wrong, it's just not memorable to me. Nothing stands out, at least the bad videos have some replay value, or there's some sort of personal significance to them. This is the video equivalent of bubblegum, to be chewed on for 50 minutes, only to be spat out and forgotten just a few minutes later. This video was a result of my getting a random ticket at the gate to avoid the Ticketmaster fees tactic that completely backfired. This video is a miss just out of poor circumstances. The Komet fan, who I was originally sitting next to, anytime I tried to get any footage would say, F you, F this, F that, just F-bombs everywhere. Anytime I tried to take video would record. It was obvious to me after a little bit that this guy was somewhere between a few and a dozen beers in. I wasn't about to have my viewing pleasure disrupted by a vulgar, filled, drunken fan. Maybe it was intentional to get me to move. Or, maybe he knew me from the Diamond Hands video. I mean, not everyone is filming with a bluish-purple colored camcorder in the year of our Lord 2024. Maybe he was like, hell no, I don't want to be anywhere this kid's crap. Once again, this is America after all. He has the right to be a jackwagon as long as he's not causing any harm. I'll just ask an usher to be relocated to calm him down. Which, spoiler alert, he didn't. He eventually got escorted out of the Coliseum for God knows what. Not going to lie, I was pretty angry watching this game too, which usually isn't how I work after a poor verbal encounter like that. I usually get scared into a flight mode and don't say anything at all and sound depressed. But for some whatever reason, I went to a silent negative fight mode. The hockey didn't help either. It was by far one of the worst hockey games I've seen in terms of skill. Indy was mailing it in for a playoff spot at this point. They were locked in. They just needed 1 point to get in the playoffs. The Komets were trying to slip into a playoff spot, but were miserably failing. And oh boy, did this game show. The only way that this game was worth it for the price of admission was watching the straight out of Steve's dang it's Kyle Maskovich tripping over his own feet in overtime, teeing up for Noah Gansky for the Komets the other way, and right in the back of the net deking out Mitchell Weeks for my only in-person Komet overtime win. And yeah, I will admit it, there was some hatred and spite in that one final round of hey you suck chants. That got my anger out I previously had, so I went loud and proud on that one to get every single ounce of it I had. Why I regret this one is for the PTSD of not having one of my finer moments. If the Komets lost, I might have exploded, and that would have required a Jesus I saw that meme appearance. That might have been a treat for few. Here's a perfect example of how not to remaster an archive stash 101. Originally edited in Windows Movie Maker, this is what you'd expect out of a channel with 86 subscribers. The content was mostly mediocre, but gosh did I half-bake the editing on this one. This originally came in at an hour and 50 minutes long. I got it cut down to an hour and 21 minutes. Thankfully, this one kind of flew under the radar and didn't get any traction. I seemed so enthusiastic about the trip. Well, the honors getting shut out didn't help the cause, and the good old crap phone with its atrocious zoom in video quality didn't make the video from the nosebleeds any good. Let alone the bloatware still looming large from my previous meteorology job on the crap phone that I was still in the process of cleaning up. Video turned the video into a 30 FPS into a choppy, laggy 5 frames per second at times. You could probably tell in the filler footage that the video portion was very choppy. The audio was unaffected, but gosh, this video frame rate was bad enough alone. That and the all-around not ready for public posting of road trip vlogs of pre-Inkling_XA made this video a total do-over if I had the chance. Better yet, keep this video in the unlisted friends-only stash for future advice and comments. No, you're not experiencing deja vu. This video is in the least favorites category as well as in the top hits according to YouTube. I'd say this, you try to chase the algorithm, you'll get the algorithm chasing harassment and casual viewers. This video easily had the most held for review comments on the channel, and spoiler alert, all of them got thrown into the penalty box. Part of it had to do with Diamond Hands naysayers having a field day after Daniel Amesbury having more penalty minutes than ice time, but most of the held review comments were taking a dump on him with some expletives. No harm, no foul. Again, just not on my Christian YouTube channel, please. A few complaints had to do with how I speak, and my voice. Now, I couldn't care less about that now, but back then it did hurt a little bit. Not everyone was born with stereotypical peak male vocal cords. Whoop-de-freaking-doo. I'll give a couple of dishonorable mentions to some held for review comments. One who turned out to be some dude saying the Komets made the right move by signing Diamond Hands because it helped the walleye out, and that he couldn't understand a word I said in the video, and why the heck YouTube recommended him this video in the first place. Hey, bizarre concept. Just don't watch, or, press the options toggle, scroll down, and click not interested or don't recommend channel. Wow, so easy. And, might digress, but my personal favorite comment just had to come from some really dumb kid, in which I laughed at first in bewilderment, who assumed I was transgender and called me a transgender slur from the way I sounded. Yeah, because a straight, white, 20-something-year-old Christian male. Yeah, quite possibly the first thing away from the transgender, and it? Needless to say, that user has been permanently banned from viewing my channel. Needless to say, I don't take comments like these too harsh or seriously anymore. Apart from some toxic users, this was an average Komet Hockey video in my book, propped up by the somewhat popular topic at the time that was Daniel Diamond Hands Amesbury. A little advice to any new content creator with a soft heart: if you can't take the heat, don't dish it out, and it's best to ignore the held for review comments and let it run its 60-day automatic course until they automatically get deleted and thrown out. In fact, heck, don't even look at the review comments at all. Well, that'll do it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being along on this one-year ride so far. And hey, at least all these videos are still better than Leah Hextall's commentary.